Hey guys, welcome back to GeekJ, where we make tech, tutorials and gaming simpler and better. Today we're diving into one of the most exciting mods for Cyberpunk 2077, UltraPlus. So if you're looking to maximize your performance and crank up your visuals, this mod is a game changer. But first, we need a baseline. So I will be launching the game without UltraPlus and we'll be testing how it performs in its maximum ray traced settings, everything set to Psycho, and I'll be showing you that in game, and also at the only other option we get, which is path tracing. So let's move into our game screen, and I'm gonna first of all go into our settings and go into graphics, and as you can see here it says we are running DLSS super resolution. We are on an AMD RX 6800 XT graphics card, so that's not possible, but we are using DLSS enabler, and this is basically running either FSR or XeSS upscalers. So if you want to know how we did this, you can check that video up there. Over there, I think so. Hello. Anyway, we're running this in quality. We are running everything else in the maximum settings possible, except for path tracing. As you can see here, ray traced lighting is also on Psycho. Everything else is on. I am keeping film grain and chromatic aberration also on because we're using the Prim LUT. And the developer of that specific LUT is suggesting we do have film grain and chromatic aberration on for the best result. I'm gonna keep motion blur off because I hate that in every possible way and game in existence. And the other setting we have tampered with is screen space reflections, and it's running on Psycho quality. You can see here, I do have over the top over here an overlay to show you my FPS, because we are running lossless scaling, but the number that comes up on the screen on the top left is not coming over to the OBS recording. So we are using the Riva Tuner statistics server with this overlay. I have personally limited my FPS to 81, so it will max out to 162 when it gets doubled by lossless scaling. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have FreeSync to be enabled at all times and not go over our VSync limits. It is locked on 81 FPS on purpose. In game, we will never see those numbers, so don't you worry about that. Let's load a save game. We're gonna load the save game over here, which I specifically prepared for this showcase. Let's let everything load in. As you can see, we are getting an average of 55-56 FPS while looking in the distance. We have some toxic rain, pretty difficult scene to render, and the 6800 XT is doing a pretty okay job with this. As you can see, we do have some indication of bounce lighting, but it's not actual bounce lighting, and we will experience that when we enable the default path tracing of the game. But to start with, we need this baseline. This is how the game looks with its default ray tracing enabled at its maximum settings. We do get very nice reflections. We don't have noisy surfaces, fortunately, as you can see over here. This is how the game looks with the default ray tracing on. We do have nice reflections and stuff. Gonna go over here. As you can see, we can clearly see the chair's textures, and the bounce lighting is a little bit there. It's not that great. It's probably pre-baked in my opinion, but yeah, it looks okay. It looks okay. Performance is also okay. We're getting around 50 to 60 FPS, so you know, that's a pretty good number performance wise. So we're basically getting 100 to 110 FPS on average, and this is how the game looks with the default ray tracing on its maximum settings. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go into the settings. We are going to enable path tracing. We're gonna hit apply, and to keep this as much as apples to apples as possible, we're just gonna reload. Okay, let the game load again. Everything it needs to load. As you can see, we've taken a massive hit in performance. While looking the distance, we're getting around 36 FPS. We are going into lower 30s now, but we do get the benefit of actual bounce lighting. As you can see, the yellow color of those signs is bouncing on the floor. You can see it over here as well, and we're not talking about the reflections because there's no water over there, but you can see the light bouncing off of the floor. You can see it over there on the door, not over on the water side, but over here it has a different color. It's probably the path tracing version from the 1.63 version of the game, which was the first introduction of path tracing into the game, and it is using its NRD denoiser, and it doesn't require the ray reconstruction denoiser by NVIDIA. And as you can see here, we do get some bounce lighting from this light over here, and we don't get any weird noise, not too much. We do have some kind of noise, but not too much. As you can see over here, we do have good textures on the chair over there, and that will make sense after we start trying the different versions of path tracing that are going to become available to us. Let's make some rounds over here and walk out as we did before. As you can see, we are now averaging around 29-30 FPS in here. And if you want to see the difference of the bounce lighting we were talking about, just keep a mental image of what you're seeing right now. We're going to go into the settings, and we are going to disable path tracing. We're going to go back into the game, and as you can see, the bounce lighting is almost completely gone. There's no color. You can see some kind of, you know, light over there, but there's no color, as you can see obviously over here. So once again, let me demonstrate. If we enable path tracing, we do get the colors of the lights bouncing off of the floor. This is actual bounce lighting, and it does affect performance quite a bit, as you can see. This is the default experience of the game. Let's try installing UltraPlus and see how this experience changes and what our performance numbers are going to be. So to do this, we need to download UltraPlus first. So let's move on to our desktop, and I'm gonna pull up their website. As always, I will have a link in the description below for you to follow the exact same steps. The title of the mod is UltraPlus Best Performance and Visuals for Everyone, and in the description they mention UltraPlus is a series of mods designed for all PCs, fixing bugs and performance with the best possible visuals. We have some requirements, which is only the CET engine, Twix, and if you followed my previous video, you will already have all the modder resources needed to follow this specific modding guide up there. I think you will have the previous video. They have a really cool community on Discord, which if you have any problems or questions, I would really urge you to join, because they've been extremely helpful with any question, even the silly questions I would ask, just to make sure I don't make any mistakes while making this video. And I hope I do this mod justice, because they've been working really hard on this mod and other mods as well. But UltraPlus is like a gift to humanity if you're playing Cyberpunk 2077, guys. So be sure to join the Discord and just give them some love, say thank you for all of the hard work they've been doing, and it's basically free. You can also endorse them and support them on a Patreon if you want to become a patron. So anyway, we're gonna scroll up, go into the files section, and we are going to download with our mod manager download. I'm gonna click download again, as we already have the Cyber Engine Twix, and our mod is downloaded. And as you can see, we have the Cyberpunk UltraPlus version 5.5.5, which is the latest version. If we double click on this and we click on manual, we will click on exit tutorial, and then we can select the Cyberpunk UltraPlus version 5.5.5 RTM. I'm gonna select this name as it's easier to understand what I have installed. Click OK. I'm gonna enable this mod, and then as you can see, it is a visuals and graphics mod, so I'm gonna put it at the top of my visual and graphics mod category over here. Basically, we don't need to do anything else, and we just need to run the game. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that we've loaded our game, we can hit our keybind, and as you can see, we do have UltraPlus right now present. And I will click on ray tracing plus path tracing. So what this will do, as you can see, it says normal ray tracing plus path traced bounce lighting. Leave path tracing disabled in graphics options for this to work correctly. So I'm going to keep this to a quality level of fast. I'm going to click on high. So this is going to keep very high settings, but it will apply the tweaks from the UltraPlus creators, and this will optimize our performance. And I'm going to click on 16 because the 6800 XT has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and I'm going to leave everything else at their default settings. I'm going to go into the actual game settings, graphics, and click apply. So as you can see here, not a lot has changed. We do have every option of ray tracing on. Everything is on Psycho that should be on Psycho. And we will load our save game from exactly the same spot and see how we do and how the game looks. Okay, lossless scaling has kicked in. We have 53 instead of the 55 FPS we're hitting before, but look at this. We get bounce lighting. Right? Even under the door, you can see the bounce lighting. coming through, where we didn't get that before. And if you check our settings, we haven't enabled path tracing. Path tracing is off, but we do get the benefits of bounce lighting because we're using this specific option of UltraPlus, which is amazing. The game looks really good. We're getting really good performance. We do get the bounce lighting. As you can see over here, the color of the lights bounces off the floor. It's kind of yellowish there under the desk and in front of the computer. And the chair looks really good in regards to its textures. The performance is still very tolerable because we haven't dropped under 40 FPS. I think anything under 40 FPS, even with any kind of frame generation, kind of feels weird because the latency is a lot higher, so you might see a smoother movement of the camera, but the game feels a lot more unresponsive. So this is pretty good so far. As you can see, we get the bounce lighting where we need to get the bounce lighting, and the game looks really amazing. We don't get noise and stuff, and I mentioned noise for a very specific reason. So let's go into the settings, and this is how I like to configure everything. I will go into my CET settings over here, and let's try enabling the path tracing method of Cyberpunk 1.63, as you can see here, and it requires NRD and it disables ray reconstruction. This is the default way that this was working in the first iteration of path tracing from CD Projekt Red. So let's click on this, and as you can see, we don't get a lot of other tips over here. We get a click apply in game graphics menu, and I will keep everything else as is. We will click apply, but if I go back into UltraPlus, you will see that it says load a save game to fully activate PT16. So in order for this to work, we need to load into a save game again. So let me do that. Gonna load the exact same save file, and let's see what happens with our frames. Hopefully the game will not crash. Sometimes when you change a lot of settings on the fly, the game might crash, so it's okay, just reload the game completely and it's gonna be fine. So we get a very similar performance as before. 50 frames per second, 48. It's a bit slower. As you can see here, we do get the nice bounce lighting, and the denoiser is doing a pretty good job. It's not the best, like underneath that 24/7 store sign over there, I do see some, let's say, boiling noise under there, but it's still very tolerable even when we are moving the camera, which you'll see why I am mentioning. Performance is taking a hit. It's not bad so far, but it is taking a hit. The surfaces are a bit more noisy than before. I don't know if that is shown really well through the YouTube video compression, but it is a bit more noisy. So let's open this up. Let's go through here. It's a bit darker, as you can see. We do have some bounce lighting coming out of that desk. Not a lot of bounce lighting coming out of the screen, and this light is like it's not doing a whole lot. The chair looks very dark, and yeah, it's a bit weird. It was the first iteration after all, so it's not, you know, very accurate. But as we progress, it's gonna get a lot better. Just going through the same routine, so we can see the numbers up there. So it's around 40 FPS, 45, 46, and we get some noise, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So let's go on ahead. We're gonna go into settings, open up our UltraPlus menu over here. We're going to enable PT20. So before I click on this, let's read what it says. Path tracing method of Cyberpunk 2.0. And it has a note over there for all PT except PTNext. For the best visuals, we recommend higher DLSS, FSR, XeSS, and lower PT quality. So we're gonna stay on the fast method over here. We could do the SARC lighting cast accuracy. I'm gonna leave this on the vanilla setting. I don't think it does anything for AMD users, as it is basically an NVIDIA technology, but I'm just gonna click on it. Doesn't really make any difference. As you will see, we will click apply, but then again, we need to load a game fully, and I'm gonna go one step backwards. We're gonna load our trusty save file. We get 45 FPS, so already we did take another hit in performance. So yeah, it is getting kind of weird. We do get the bounce lighting, and you know, now that we are outside and there's a lot of light, it looks pretty okay, but we do get unfortunately a lot of that boiling noise, and this will become more and more apparent as we go in here. Look at this. So unfortunately, AMD users, we get the short end of the stick because we do not have access to the ray reconstruction denoiser by NVIDIA, and this is basically the result of this. The NRD denoiser that UltraPlus is giving us access to is not really gonna cut it for the later versions of path tracing in this game. It's very, very noisy and noticeable, and it does work in some extent better than the 1.6 version. As you can see, we do get the bounce lighting over here. We do have the bounce lighting off of the ceiling and off the desk, so it's not that dark over here. And we do get bounce lighting from the other sources, and the cherry is not that dark, but at the same time, the textures are kind of, you know, drowning under that boiling noise, unfortunately, from that denoiser. And if you leave the camera static, it kind of gets a little bit better, and some of the details of the textures do come up again, but as you can see, it's a very noisy picture, unfortunately. So we do get a performance hit, and we do get a very noisy picture. So yeah, not the best option, unfortunately. I'm gonna do my usual round over here. So you can see if we stay over here, not moving, gradually it's gonna be a little bit clearer, and you know, it's kind of okay, but this game is a high-paced game, so that's not gonna cut it, unfortunately. So let's go to the next settings, which is basically gonna get us more and more of a performance hit. So the 2.1 version, as you can see, it says again higher DLSS, which means, you know, quality is the best option or balanced, and a lower path tracing quality. We're gonna keep it at the fast option over here. I'm not gonna change anything else. I'm gonna hit apply, and again, if we go back in here, we need to remember we need to load a save game to fully activate PT21. So we're gonna go one step backwards. We're gonna load our game. Again, the same save file is going to be loaded, and hopefully we're not gonna crash. And as you can see, we have taken even more of a hit in performance. While looking in the distance, we're getting around 34 to 36 FPS. The game feels very sluggish right now, even though I am getting around 62, 63 FPS because of lossless scaling basically, but yeah, it's not that great. We do have our nice bounce lighting over here. We do see a lot of that boiling noise, unfortunately. So let's try going inside, and the performance is, you know, 28 FPS right now. So yeah, it's around 55, 56 FPS. Very noisy still. It's better than the 2.0 version, but it's still a different kind of boiling noise and it looks like everything is covered in Vaseline basically. So yeah, not the best result. Lighting wise, it does look a little bit better, and if we stand still it gets a little bit clearer. But you know, if there is this slight change in lighting because, you know, lighting bouncing changes, or because there is some smoke or fog or stuff like that, just like in that place over here, it's gonna look bad no matter what. So let's go in there. We can see the colors are bouncing nicely. We do get, I think, an improved experience, but still when we move our camera, it's pretty bad, unfortunately. So yeah, look at that. That looks like it's boiling. We do get some more detail on the chair, especially if we stop moving the camera. But with the slightest movement of the camera or change, yeah, things are looking pretty bad in my opinion. Yeah, everything looks like it's smeared in Vaseline, and yeah, it's not the greatest experience. We do get a massive hit in performance, and yeah, this is the experience we get, unfortunately. With the 2.1 version, it's better. Admittedly, it's better, but it's not the best experience we could get. So again, let's go into our settings. We're gonna get our UltraPlus settings up again. We're gonna go into Next to enable PTNext, and we will read what it says here. For this mode to work, you must load a save game or start Cyberpunk with PTNext enabled. Changing graphics DLSS will also require a reload. For other PT methods, we recommend increase DLSS FSR3 and lower PT quality. However, for PTNext, they recommend basically lower DLSS for transformer model and to run PTNext and SARC at high or insane. So let's go with insane. Let's go with 400. We're gonna keep everything else as is. We're gonna hit apply. And yes, you guessed it, we need to load a save. So we're gonna go one step backwards, and we are going to load our trusty old save file over here. And as you can see, the performance is taking an even bigger hit. The game feels very sluggish. We could lower the upscaling from quality to balanced, or even lower to get better FPS, but I want to give you an apples to apples comparison. As you can see, the PTNext unfortunately has a lot of let's say AI training hallucinations, so those reflections are not correct, and we have a lot of boiling noise plus added noise on top of that. The lighting is probably a lot more accurate if we would be using an NVIDIA RTX graphics card, especially 4000 series or above, and we would have access to the DLSS 4 transformer model and the ray reconstruction denoiser by NVIDIA. It would be a vastly different experience, but unfortunately for AMD users, this is not possible at this moment in time. So yeah, this is very noisy, and the performance unfortunately is abysmal. As you can see here, a lot better bounce lighting, but a lot of AI hallucinations from the training model they used, unfortunately, for PTNext, I think. Yeah, it looks very, very weird, and probably this could be a bug with PTNext. I'm not really sure. If we do not move the camera, it does get better, the noise does get better, but it's not, you know, possible to play like this, in my opinion. It looks pretty bad. Let's go make our rounds over here. Open this door, go outside. Once again, as you can see here, it does, you know, look okay-ish, but it's not for AMD users. This looks pretty bad, unfortunately. NVIDIA obviously has the upper hand here. So let's go back into the settings. I'm gonna show you again what you're running right now. The only change I'm gonna make is go for balanced. I'm gonna hit apply and load the game from the exact same save file. We are getting slightly better performance, slightly from 28. We're getting 30 to 31. Well, looking in the distance, let's go into those difficult parts of the game. The noise is still unfortunately there. Let's go in here. Yep. This is looking pretty bad, unfortunately. There's a lot of noise. Performance is slightly better, but we have lost a lot of you know, texture quality and stuff. There's a lot of noise. The hallucination of PTNext is still there, so the reflections are not correct. I don't know from where it's getting those reflections and showing them everywhere, unfortunately. So this is how the game looks in balanced mode. I don't know if that changes what we're experiencing too much. Let's go with ultra performance, and I'm gonna load the same exact save file with those settings dialed in, so it's the lowest possible setting we can get with our upscaler, and the highest possible setting we can get with the path tracing settings in UltraPlus. So let's see how this looks. It doesn't look horrible for things close to the camera. For things away from the camera, it looks pretty bad. We are getting 56 FPS over here. The noise is there. I'm pretty sure you can see it. I'm just gonna try and see how this looks. Even though it's ultra performance, as you can see here, it's upscaling from 640 by 360 to a 1080p resolution. So that is doing a pretty amazing job. This is XeSS 2, by the way. But yeah, it's unfortunately not gonna cut it, as you can see over here. Very noisy. We are getting better performance numbers, but the game looks even more horrible and more Vaseline smeared. So yeah, I wouldn't call this a playable experience. But yeah, these settings are basically meant for NVIDIA users. So my recommendation would be for AMD users, let's go back into settings. I'm gonna go with quality over here and click apply. The next thing I'm gonna do is my recommendation, which is gonna be RT+PT on fast, and override game graphics menu settings with high, and click on the appropriate amount of VRAM that you actually have. I'm gonna click apply again. As you can see here, we do need to load a save game to fully activate RT+PT, and I think this is the best of both worlds and performance that we are ever gonna get, especially with a 6000 graphics card from AMD. If you're on RDNA 3, maybe you could get away with some other setting, but since we're not getting any access to any better denoisers, I would just stick with RT+PT if I'm being honest with you. So as you can see here, we are getting the bounce lighting from path tracing, which in my opinion makes the biggest difference if we compare it to ray tracing by itself. And we are getting pretty good performance over here. We don't get any noise, very clear textures, very good job from the UltraPlus team. As you can see over here, we get the latest version of the bounce lighting and ray tracing, cycle reflections, all that good stuff. So yeah, let me quit out of the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And in my opinion, UltraPlus lets you guys experience Night City like you've never experienced it before, especially for AMD GPU owners, because unfortunately, ray tracing is not the same for RTX owners and AMD RX owners so far. So if you guys are ready to elevate your Cyberpunk 2077 experience and playthrough, give UltraPlus a try and make sure you say thank you to the developers of this amazing mod. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more geekiness, and hit that bell to get all notifications. Thank you for watching and stay geeky. Bye-bye. Bye.